Welcome to Masters of Product Management, a show that gives you real-world techniques and cutting-edge strategies to learn, apply, and succeed in product management. Now, here's the master himself, Stephen Haines.
You know, as long as I can remember, bosses, executives have been calling for things to get done faster, cheaper, better. This is music to my ears and probably music to anybody else's ears, but, you know, it's easier said than done. And, you know, I've been studying business for a really long time. I've seen so many things, methods, techniques, try to move things along faster. And the thing that really is interesting to me is that, you know, we are in this so-called digital age, and everybody wants to do things faster, cheaper, and better. But, you know, in the software and technology companies, Agile development has proliferated, and this has been one of the things that has bothered me for a long time. Sometimes I even refer to Agile developers as Agilistas, and they often defend themselves because they don't want to be waterfallers. But, you know, Agile is a development method. And the thing that gets me is that product management has been pulled into this vortex of development, and less so in the business management of products, which is the thing that I advocate for so strongly. So now there's this other force pulling at product management. They call it DevOps, which to my understanding is development and operations. So in the bigger picture of business management, Agile and DevOps may be really great things for developers, but maybe not so much for product managers. So today on the show, I'm going to talk to Raj Rao. Raj and I, we go back years, and we met for the first time when we worked at Oracle, and Raj is now the chief product officer at a company called Witty Parrot. It's a cognitive analytics company in the Valley, and he's been in Silicon Valley for several decades and has worked at really large software companies like Oracle, PeopleSoft, and so on. I think of Raj as a thought leader in software and has always worked at the cutting edge of software engineering and that specific domain. So I'd like to welcome Raj to the show. Hi, Raj.
Hi, Stephen. Thanks for inviting me for the podcast.
Oh, it's great. It was really great to reconnect with you in Palo Alto. I felt reinvigorated when we were out there a couple of weeks ago. So the way I see things, and based on some of the things I was just talking about and what we've discussed in the past, there's a lot of misalignment in technology companies today. And sort of as this result, I don't know that they're producing the profits that they envision or that they promise to their funders. And we were talking about this just a few weeks ago. Your perspective on development driving product really gelled with mine. What's your take on what's going on inside of these product organizations now?
You know, Stephen, going back to just a couple of minutes ago, what you said about Agile and DevOps, I believe that they've fundamentally changed enterprises forever. These two are very powerful capabilities that are transforming the way software is designed, created, deployed into production. PMs, product managers, really need to understand the power of Agile and DevOps put together. So just a short time ago, product managers had everything buttoned down, meaning the releases were well planned. There was a schedule, there was a quarterly or a monthly update to production. With Agile and DevOps, a combination of the two, today I know large enterprises like American Express, ING are making hundreds of changes to production per day. This unprecedented change has to be coordinated and managed with other departments within the enterprise, like, for example, sales, marketing, product support, education and training, and so on. So what I see is the product manager, while they have a very powerful tool, this powerful capability to react quickly, need to make sure that the overall product success is ensured, because they're bringing all the rest of the departments and groups together to deliver one uniform customer experience.
Yeah, you know, I have this picture in my head of a development and the DevOps organization and everybody producing code at massive speeds. I've even heard stories about, Amazon is releasing, hundreds of releases a day. That's a hard thing for an organization to digest. But is it really up to the product manager to synchronize those tactical activities? Because how else are they going to see the big picture?
Exactly. So think of this. Think of it this way: product managers start with an epic, or if the much bigger picture, and now this big picture is broken into multiple work streams, multiple sprints, and parallel scrum teams that are running at breakneck speed, and they are pushing code into deployment. And does the product manager have a chance to look at the end result and say, did it meet my intent or my customer intent? I mean, that is really the check and balance that the product manager wants to do. But at the speed with which we are going, this is a bit of a challenge right now for the product manager. So how to ensure that what comes out of all this, the software factory, so to speak, at breakneck speed is meeting the original intent.
You're listening to Masters of Product Management with Stephen Haines on the Sequent Business Network, sequentbusiness.net.
It's interesting because sometimes the way I see this is that, and especially when I'm asking product managers the question, how do you know how well you're doing? How do you know how well you're doing against the vision and strategy for the product? And are you producing the money at the end of the day? And the thing that disturbs me is I don't think that they're being able to answer the question. I think that they're on a tactical treadmill. What's your take?
I completely agree, because the product managers can easily get bogged down by the software development process and the software deployment process, because there are quite a few, because of the speed at which these processes are moving, there are quite a few interactions that needs product managers' attention. And hence, they can get bogged down and lose the big picture. And losing the big picture is a monumental mistake, simply because ultimately that is what we are trying to achieve is, are we delivering real value? Are we delivering customer intent? And that can get lost with the volume and velocity of Agile and DevOps.
Yeah, that's a really important thing. We sort of are ruminating on the internal dimension of this product development and release cycle, but ultimately the customer sees what's going on through their own experience. What have you seen?
I agree. Customers are looking at, no matter what your internal processes are, customers want a consistent experience. So let's say, I give a simple example. If you are making changes to your production system that is reflected in user experience, customer wants to call in support and get supported for that particular version of user experience. If the support teams are not aware of what is happening, then they are absolutely not able to support the customer issues. So there's a breakdown in customer experience for the product, and that's a bad thing. And you can start seeing more and more of this type of a situation simply because the product manager is not able to don't have an opportunity to coordinate all groups to move at the right speed.
Oh, wow. Now I'm scared. I'm an advocate for product managers and for the function of product management. You know what it sounds to me? It sounds like there's this huge movement underfoot. It almost sounds like a big corporate power play to take away power from product managers. Any thoughts on that?
Well, in the Valley, especially, you can see this, where developers feel like they have a deeper understanding of the product and the customer need than other folks and other roles even. So sometimes developers can take the process end to end. But this is not a scalable approach across the industry, across the enterprise, across corporate America. So what we need to do is we need to clearly understand there are different functions, and like a PM function, the developer function, a QA function, and so on. And we need to make sure that the teams, there is a teamwork going on across the different groups, and while moving at the speed of light, so to speak, within the high volume and velocity, the coordination, there is a premium on coordination and communication, and all starts with the PM, because at the end of the day, PM owns the customer, and represents the customer, understands the customer intent, and they have to deliver the product success.
Yeah, I think that, there are a bunch of different perspectives. I've been studying how companies have been operating, especially in the last few months, and I see sort of these three levels of product. One is sort of a product, the product owners and others, business analysts, people who are sort of at the base of a triangle, and they're kind of getting everybody to move along and keep projects moving along, getting stuff out the door. There's got to be some other level person who is sitting in the middle, who's a better orchestrator of some of the things going on, working with the designers and the UX people. Then at the top of the pyramid, there's got to be somebody who's dealing with vision, strategy, and future direction, performance management, and stuff like that. But that's possible if a company will organize for it. But in a place where companies don't see that, and they merge the roles, and one person has to do the job of many and play different roles. Is there something that you think that product managers could do to provide that balance?
Absolutely. I like the pyramid approach. I think the pyramid is what the rest of America represents, the rest of the world represents. Perhaps in certain very niche companies, maybe perhaps in unicorns, so to speak, they can get away from the pyramid approach. But rest of the world needs to follow a structured approach, and a pyramid is a great place. The pyramid you just discussed makes perfect sense to go. I would say for the PMs, the key things to watch out for is fully understand the power of Agile and DevOps. This is a great capability. Learn how to harness it. Don't shy away from it. Learn how to harness it. But do not sacrifice the overall product success just because you can achieve a high volume and velocity. Because ultimately, PMs are the product bosses, and they are held accountable for product success. They have to manage the risk that comes with such an unprecedented change in volume and velocity.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. It's interesting you talk about this idea behind volume and velocity. I was interviewing somebody, a product leader at Amazon, and he was talking about that volume and velocity, and he talked about this sort of autonomous cross-functional product team as a way to orchestrate and manage the flow of information and communication across the organization. And so that may mesh very, very well with the opportunity that's in front of us for the product managers, right? So from what I heard you say is that these development methods have really transformed the way software is designed, created, and deployed, except that the gears of the organization don't always keep pace with the things that are happening in terms of things moving out. So that leaders have an opportunity in front of them to help synchronize the gears of the organization and develop the cadences that are the right cadences that provide the product's ability or the capability of achieving the competitive advantage that it needs. So that's really, really cool. Are there any other thoughts that you wanted to impart to our listeners today?
The only thing I would say is the product managers have a very, very key role, even in this new world of Agile and DevOps. And they should remember that, and they should orchestrate the rest of the groups and deliver and still own their role, which is delivering product success.
We've been talking to Raj Rao today, who's brought us some great insights to help product managers be great business people. See you next time.
This has been Masters of Product Management with Stephen Haines, but it doesn't end there. Just visit sequentbusiness.net to gain access to all of our shows, take advantage of free tools and resources, and subscribe. That way you'll never miss an episode. It's all there at sequentbusiness.net. We'll talk to you next time on Masters of Product Management on the Sequent Business Network. Learn, apply, and succeed. sequentbusiness.net